What's up, people? Today I will be ranking all of the Rocky films, including Creed 2, and I got that coming up for you next. So my Creed 2 review is out on my page. You can check that out. It is going to be the video right below this. But now I have to get into all of the Rocky films, and I'm going to be ranking them for you guys. I want to get through this real quick, but I want to say before I get into it, I want to know about your list of the Rocky films ranked. So comment down below, let me know all of those rankings. Let's have a really good discussion for you guys down below, and I'm going to be getting right into it right now, starting with the number 8 film, and that is going to be Rocky 5. This shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. This is the weak link to Rocky films, and I will say that all of the other films on this list I will watch again, except for Rocky 5. I don't think I'll ever be coming back to this one. And that is just because I just feel like this is the case of them realizing they went just whole hog nuts with Rocky 4. You can't beat that, so you have to temper it down. And what they basically did is, Stallone stopped directing, and they went with the director who directed Rocky, the original Rocky. And they brought Rocky back to his roots. They took away his riches, and they blamed it on Paulie. And, they really brought this down to a personal level, and they made Rocky into the Mickey role, where now Rocky has to train one of his son's friends. Look, I have Creed now, and that is the right way to integrate Rocky into the Mickey role, and this is not the right way. Rocky comes across as a dick in this movie, and I'm sorry to say it, but he does, and I just wanted him to see what he was doing to his son by investing so much time into his friend, and he didn't. And this movie just goes into like very contrived ways to get characters to get to where they want them to be. And over again, it just takes the more contrived route that I didn't want Rocky to go to. And even with the end scene where, my fight's outside in the street, I just, that's not where I wanted to see Rocky go, and that's not the character that I knew Rocky to be, and I just didn't really care for this movie at all, and that is why it's at the bottom of my list. And getting into my next two, really, they flip-flop so much, but today, Rocky 2 is going to be my number 7 on the list, and that is just because of the fact that it is so much of a retread of the original Rocky. And with the exception of a few minor details that don't actually matter once you boil it down, I feel like this movie, it's just unnecessary. You have this whole entire side plot where Rocky's going to lose his eyesight if he ever fights again. That, not to spoil it for anybody, but that goes nowhere. And a lot of the drama in this movie just takes so long to get going, and it is so arduous to get through. And I like the way that this movie ends. But other than that, this movie is a slog for me to get through. I like the performances. I still like Stallone as Rocky, and I love the character of Apollo Creed. But other than that, it is just not here for this movie for me. And getting into my number 6 pick is going to be Rocky Balboa, and this one is a lot like Rocky 2 for me, and that's why they flip-flop so much. At one point in time in this movie, Paulie actually says to Rocky, "You're living in the past, Rocco. You're living backwards." And that is 100% true. all Rocky was doing at this particular point in time, and I mean the whole entire franchise, was just living in the past and redoing past moments. And that is not what I wanted. I wanted something new when this movie came out. And Rocky Balboa is not going to give it to you guys. It is only going to play beat by beat the original Rocky. And that is my complaints with Rocky 2, and it is very much my complaints with Rocky Balboa. And I will say that it bugs me even a little bit more here just because of things that happen towards the end of the movie that I won't get into, but yeah, that really irritated me the first time that it came out. And one thing that really edges this over Rocky 2 for me is I start to really enjoy Rocky again. And I really enjoy Rocky's character in this movie and his plight more than in Rocky 2. I feel like it has more of an impact on the overall Rocky story. And I do like how they have modernized the Rocky franchise and how that incorporates into the villain of the movie. And now we are very much getting into the quintessential Rocky films for me. The ones that I have seen so many damn times in my life. And these are just a real good chunk of movies that really I do endure. And that is going to start with Rocky 3 at number 5. Rocky 3 has some awesome characters with Clever Ling and Thunderlip. You know, you got Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. How can you go wrong? How can you go wrong? And they are in their prime here, especially Mr. T. He is such a compelling villain here, and I just really love him in this movie. You know, I see him in the role that very much like Rocky was in the first Rocky. He's hungry. He wants it. And I just really dig that about his character in this movie. And unlike Rocky, he is going to play that up to the fullest. He's going to be cocky and confident. And that is a good thing for this movie because Rocky, I really fall off of his side in this film, and that lasts for a couple of films, to be quite honest with you. They have intentionally put Rocky in a unsympathizing role in this film. He is at the height of his popularity. He has nowhere else to go but down. And he is kind of a jerk. You know? He's a jerk to Paulie. He's kind of a jerk to his son. He doesn't really pay that much attention to him. And I just feel like the character of Rocky really suffers in this film just because you can tell that they just have nowhere else to go with this character. Nowhere. And it shows, and that's why Rocky 3 is where it is on my list. I like a lot of the characters, but unfortunately, Rocky really wasn't one of them in this movie. And so next on the list is the newest addition, and it's going to be at number 4, and that is going to be Creed 2. Creed 2 is a really great Rocky movie that has some excellent performances. And I will say that all of the performances from the original Creed film are stepped up here. You get Ivan Drago back, and he has his son Victor, and they are really expanded in this movie, like you can hear in my review for Creed 2, and I just really dug where they took the characters. Adonis Creed, you know, Michael B. Jordan in this movie is tremendous, and I feel like he can take this franchise really without Stallone now. But unfortunately, I do feel like Stephen Cable Johnson is a lesser director than Ryan Coogler in just style, and I feel like that Creed 2 kind of takes a hit there. And even though it is a more emotional film, I didn't get as pumped in Creed 2 as I did in all of the other films on this list. But this is still a very strong recommend for this movie. I do feel like you all should go out in the theater and check out Creed 2. It will be one of the best films that is out there right now. And getting into my number 3 slot, this might be surprising for you, but it is going to be the original Rocky. And look, let me explain. I love this movie to death. And as for the Rocky character in this movie, I love where he's just an average Joe. I feel like he is just a really good straw man for us. Like, we can project ourselves onto Rocky as a person that is just down on his luck and just needing just that one shot. And hey, we all need that in our lives. We all feel like we deserve that in our lives. And I feel like they hit a nerve with audiences with Rocky back in the day, and that still holds today. I love this movie and its message, and I love the characters and the way that these characters are in this film. Mickey, Burgess Meredith is great here. Paulie is such an asshole, but I love him as well. And, you have Apollo Creed. Now, this character is just so great, and unfortunately, he is kind of underdeveloped, but I just really like what we do get out of him. And I just really can't say enough about this original Rocky film. And getting into the number 2 slot on my Rocky list is going to be Rocky 4. And this movie is just so awesome to me. This is the epitome of the 80s right here, and it is just glorious. You have Rocky at the height of his fame, to the point where he buys his friend like this robot, this sex bot for himself. Like, here, Paulie, here you go. It is just the antithesis of the 80s, and just the whole, if you work hard, you can get anything you want, and if you work hard, you can get a robot, and you can get a robot, and you can get a robot, and you. This movie is going to be American hubris at its finest, and even though I do admit that it is his hubris that he thinks this about life, you know what? I definitely I love this, and this is just so cheesy 80s to me. And then you get Ivan Drago. This movie doesn't even try to come into his plight and what he's all about, but he is just an imposing figure. Dolph Lundgren at this point in time was an imposing guy, and he definitely works here. And then you have all of the montages on top of montages on top of montages to train for the Rocky Ivan Drago fight, and these montages are what Team America was all about. I mean, these montages are some of the best montages you will ever see in your life. They are just 80s cheesy gold. I have so much fun watching Rocky 4, and I love it. And getting into my number 1 slot is going to be Creed. And you know what? Ryan Coogler is such an amazing director to me, just because he is a guy that comes into a story like this, and he just has such a clear vision on what he wants for this story. And, he did it with Fruitvale Station. He did it with Black Panther, and he 100% does it here. He takes a very rote story and just injects it with such flavor and style and swagger that I just get so energized by this movie. And then you have these characters that are a lot more complex, like Michael B. Jordan's character of Adonis Creed. Why is Adonis so angry? With his anger and his angst and everything that he has gone through in his life, you relate to him, even though he is such a pent-up and angry character. This movie has so much dimension that it gives this character that I just 100% get on his side. And I relate to him a lot more than I've ever related to Rocky. And that's just me, personally. And then you have a performance by Sylvester Stallone that is one of the best in his whole career. I will say that it is the best after First Blood. I mean, this performance is just an incredible performance by Stallone, and it is one for the highlight reels for his entire career. And this movie is just such a passion. And this movie is such a passionate movie for me. After I saw this movie for the very first time, I wanted to. I felt compelled to share it with people. So what I did was I applied for a movie review. So what I did was I applied for a Blu-ray review website. So I applied for a Blu-ray review website that I worked for a couple of years. Then I started this channel, but this all started with this movie, Creed, and how emotional this movie left me. And I just love the journey that I have been on for the past couple of years, and it all started here with Creed, and that is why that is my number one. So, guys, I hope you agree with me, and even if you don't, comment down below and let me know about your Creed ranking. So, guys, I hope you have agreed with me, and even if you don't, that's okay. That is what discussions are for. Comment down below, let me know about your ranking, and I do have to get into more Stallone because I have to get into the First Blood and Rocky, and of course, I do have to get into the First Blood and Rambo films. It is a whole lot of Stallone right now, and I got it all coming at you. So subscribe so you know when those videos come out, because you know you like hearing me talk about Stallone. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. You guys are awesome, and you know it, and I will see all of you next time.